So we got some new lenses, but these lenses are a little different from a lot of the other lenses we have because these ones are RF lenses. And you're probably wondering, what the heck does that even mean? RF lenses. Well, let's open this up, see what it's all about, and I'll tell you a little bit about RF lenses and why they're the future of glass. So, if you've owned a Canon lens in the last, I don't know, bajillion years, you've probably owned an EF mount lens. And the EF mount has been the gold standard for a lot of lenses and a lot of cameras for the longest time. But there's a new kid on the block. And with this being our first ever batch of RF mount lenses, I figured let's open these up, see what they're all about, and walk you guys through what exactly the benefits of the new RF mount are. So to start off our brand new collection of RF mount lenses, we went with the 15 to 35 F2.8 lens. This thing, pretty expensive. We also went with the less expensive RF 50mm 1.8 STM lens. We chose both these lenses together because the range of 15 to 35 millimeters and the standard 50 prime is a pretty good starter kit that covers a vast majority of ranges that a creator or video professional would use. Now, if you're anything like me, you have a lot of existing EF mount glass, and a new mount like RF makes you cringe a little bit because you've invested hundreds, if not thousands of dollars in an EF mount system, and Canon all of a sudden is like, hey, new mount, go get new glass, which is kind of true, but kind of not. And now you're gonna have to think about dropping a whole ton more money to completely reinvent your lens collection. Yes, the RF mount is the future of lens mounts, but it's going to be a slow and progressive migration over to the new systems. It's going to involve lens manufacturers like Canon, Sigma, Tamron, all adapting to the new mount, and camera manufacturers like Red, Blackmagic, etc., all adapting their cameras to the new RF system. So it's not gonna happen overnight. It's going to take a little while. But the cool thing is there are a lot of advantages to going to a new mount like the RF mount. First of which being a shorter flange distance to the sensor. The closer your lens flange is to the sensor, the more benefits you get. Like light aberration and image stabilization, both of these things are so much easier to manage with a shorter flange distance. Also, a shorter flange distance means lighter and shorter lenses. So something like the new Canon RF 70-200 versus the old EF 70-200 is a night and day difference. Look at the size comparison between these two lenses. So that's a big benefit for content creators and production people who have to lug around big heavy lenses all the time. You can actually hold the lenses up for longer and longer periods of time because they're shorter, lighter, and easier to work with. And last but not least, when you convert to a new mount like RF, there's obviously new electronics that are put in, and there is so much more control put into these new RF lenses. There's control rings, programmable control rings on the front of the lenses that let you control things like aperture, shutter speed, ISO, right on the lens. And heck, they could push out a bunch new other use cases for these little rings via firmware updates. Yes, lenses now take firmware updates. Welcome to 2022. And the electronic focusing motors in these new lenses are amazing and silent. Most importantly. Let's try this 50 mil on, see how this looks. Okay, that's nice. And it's so smooth. And the tracking on these new lenses with these new motors is absolutely fantastic. And this is the cheap lens. This is the very, very cost-effective RF 50mm 1.8 STM lens. This lens, $200-300. What a steal. This other lens, the 15 to 35, not so cheap, but very good looking and very versatile. Goes really, really wide. It has image stabilization built in, all thanks to that RF mount. And this is a great little lens. Oh yeah. And of course, thanks to the RF mount on this new 15 to 35 lens, you should have less chromatic aberration. And heck, this lens even has image stabilization built into it. I love it. Oh, and the tracking on this one too. Hello. So, does this mean that you should go take your entire EF mount lens collection and throw it in the garbage? Absolutely not. This is gonna be a very slow and very transitional period for Canon and their new RF mount. And while that transition is happening, there's going to be many things like EF to RF adapters that allow you to take your old EF mount glass and adapt it perfectly well to the new RF ecosystem, so you can keep using your EF glass for years to come. Because when you have hundreds of thousands of dollars invested in the old EF mount system, you don't want to throw it all away. As always, my name is Matt, we are Viva Media, and we will see you in the next video. This light went off. Now it's back on. It's a motion sense light. I forgive you.